Have you ever experienced a moment so quiet that it makes you hold your breath, not because of what is loudly shown, but because of what is softly felt? A moment that doesn't announce itself, yet somehow lingers longer than any dramatic confession. That night in the final episodes of Are You Sure? Felt exactly like that. There were no fireworks, no exaggerated reactions, no words screaming for attention. And yet, for those who truly watched, something unmistakable unfolded in the stillness between Jimin and Jungkook. From the very beginning, the atmosphere felt different. Not because of the location, not because of the camera work, but because of the way time itself seemed to slow whenever the two of them shared the same frame. It was as if the world around them faded slightly, leaving behind a quiet pocket of space that belonged only to them. The kind of space that doesn't need explanations. The kind that only exists when two people are deeply, instinctively attuned to each other. Jimin was quieter than usual that night. Not distant, just calm. Settled. As if he no longer felt the need to fill every second with words or reactions. Jungkook, on the other hand, hovered close without making it obvious. He didn't cling, didn't exaggerate his presence, didn't demand attention. He simply stayed. And sometimes, staying, without conditions, without expectations, is the loudest form of devotion. One of the most overlooked details was their silence. Fans are used to loud laughter, playful teasing, and chaotic energy whenever Jikook are together. But this time, the silence spoke. There were moments when neither of them said anything, yet their eyes did all the talking. A brief glance held half a second longer than necessary. A small smile that appeared without being prompted. A subtle shift in posture whenever the other moved. It's easy to miss these things if you're waiting for something obvious. If you're expecting a grand gesture, a dramatic confession, or a clear statement meant to go viral. But intimacy rarely announces itself. It reveals itself in habits, unconscious, unfiltered, and honest. Jungkook adjusting his position just slightly to match Jimin's. Jimin instinctively leaning in, not even realizing he was doing it. These weren't actions meant for the camera. They were reflexes. Muscle memory. Comfort written into the body. Then there was that moment. No dramatic music. No slow-motion edit. No close-up designed to trend. Just a shared pause. A breath held between two people. And a look that felt almost too private to witness. Jungkook's gaze softened in a way fans have learned to recognize. A look he doesn't give easily, and never casually. Jimin met it without hesitation, without shyness, without deflection. There was no need to look away. No need to laugh it off. No need to break the tension. For a split second, it felt like the cameras weren't there. This is where the question began to echo among viewers. Did Jikook finally do it? Not in the way gossip headlines would frame it, but in a far more meaningful sense. Did they finally allow themselves to exist openly in that quiet truth they've always carried? Did they stop guarding the softness they usually hide behind jokes, chaos, and playful noise? Because what happened that night wasn't about crossing a line. It was about erasing the need for one. Jungkook's hand hovered close, never grabbing, never demanding. Just present. A silent promise that said, I'm here. I won't move unless you do. Jimin noticed. You could tell by the way his shoulders relaxed, by the way his breathing slowed, by the way his expression softened instead of tensing up. That kind of comfort doesn't come from rehearsed chemistry. It comes from trust built over years of shared stages, shared fears, shared silence, and shared growth. There's a reason fans who watched closely felt emotional rather than shocked. The moment didn't feel new. It felt inevitable. Like something that had been quietly developing all along, finally allowed to breathe. Like a door that had always been unlocked, but never fully opened until now. Even after the scene passed, the energy remained. Jungkook stayed close, his attention subtly locked on Jimin even when others spoke. His eyes followed without being obvious, without being possessive, just attentive. Jimin, in turn, seemed grounded. Less restless. Less guarded. As if simply being near Jungkook anchored him in place, giving him permission to just exist. This wasn't about proving anything to anyone. It wasn't about feeding theories or confirming suspicions. It was about comfort. And comfort, when it's real, is deeply intimate. Some might argue that fans are reading too much into it, that it was just another moment, another interaction, another scene edited for narrative flow. But those who have followed Jikook for years know the difference. They know when something is played up for entertainment, and when something slips through unintentionally. That night, nothing felt staged. There was no need for grand gestures because the smallest ones carried the most weight. A shared laugh that faded into silence instead of noise. A look that lingered instead of breaking. A closeness that felt natural, not performed. The kind of closeness that exists when two people no longer feel the need to ask permission to be near each other. What made the moment even more powerful was its ordinariness. Nothing about it screamed significance, yet everything about it felt meaningful. It was intimacy without spectacle. Affection without announcement. Connection without explanation. If intimacy is measured by how safe two people feel in each other's presence, then yes, something significant happened that night. Not a confession. Not a label. Not a moment designed to be dissected frame by frame. But a quiet understanding. The kind that settles gently, then stays. As the episode drew to a close, many viewers were left with the same feeling, a warmth mixed with a strange ache. The sense that we had witnessed something deeply personal. Something not meant to be consumed quickly or explained away, yet impossible to forget once seen. So did Jikook finally do it? Maybe they finally did what mattered most. They stopped hiding the softness. They stopped breaking the moment with noise. They allowed the silence to speak. They let themselves be seen, not loudly, not dramatically, but honestly. And sometimes, that is the most intimate thing of all. In the end, maybe the real question was never, did Jikook finally do it? Maybe the question was whether we were ready to witness a kind of intimacy that doesn't beg to be understood. One that doesn't need proof, confirmation, or definitions. Something that exists quietly, between pauses, glances, and shared silence. That night wasn't about answers. It was about presence. Two people choosing not to run from the stillness. Choosing to remain, even when the world was watching. And in that choice, something honest revealed itself. Fragile, unspoken, and undeniably real. Some moments are loud and unforgettable. Others are quiet and stay with you forever. And that night? It was the kind of moment you don't replay because you're curious. You replay it because it felt true. Sometimes, the most intimate stories aren't the ones that are told. They're the ones that are simply allowed to exist.